Good evening and welcome to the June 5th TV Toastmasters meeting. We have a great meeting in store for you tonight. We have 3 speeches that are going to be presented. We have table topics, which we're going to practice our impromptu speaking. We'll have an evaluation portion of the meeting, and I think that you're going to really enjoy our program this evening. I'm Steve Ehrenholtz. I'm the president-elect for TV Toastmasters for the 2014-2015 Toastmasters year. And I want to welcome all of our guests looking in from home as well as our members here in the studio. It's my privilege this evening to introduce our Toastmaster, who's going to keep our meeting running. He is also our Vice President of Public Relations, if I remember correctly. He's going to do a second tour in that role this coming Toastmaster year. Help me welcome Rick Barron. Rick.
Thank you, Steve. On my way to the meeting today, I didn't have a speech to prepare or rehearse. I wasn't on the phone, and I had an opportunity to really reflect on the day today. What a wonderful, beautiful day it was, followed by the storms that we had previously. In some cases, very violent and chaotic storms. And I got to thinking that analogy is a little like what happens here. When we're out in the world trying to grow personally, all on our own, there's a lot of activity and chaos associated with our effort. But once we come to Toastmasters, we have an opportunity to grow collectively with the world's best and most affordable leadership and public speaking program right here in a safe, comfortable environment where we can grow together with one another. And that allows us to achieve everything that we desire in concert with someone else. I thought it was quite inspirational. I was moved while I was coming here about how we come in so ready for something new, yet we lack the structure often that Toastmasters provides us, that program of action where we can do one step after the next, one speech, one role, one next thing to get what we want. We're fortunate today to have the opportunity to watch someone new as they are going through that journey. Our first portion of the program today is our impromptu speaking program, and that is led by Jean Ho. Jean, would you please come up and take us through table topics?
Thank you, Rick. Hello, and I guess everybody's ready for summer. As you know, summer officially or unofficially started Memorial Weekend with all the pools being open. And you have all graduations that are happening and people are planning their summer vacations. And I recall when I graduated from college, I was so excited I couldn't wait to just go out and do something exciting, travel somewhere. But unfortunately, you know, there is that thing about having funds. So reality grounded me, and I had to, you know, look for work that summer. So eventually, I could be able to travel going forward. So I wondered, Patty, when you graduated, what did you do? Or what did you want to do when you graduated?
Well, I graduated from beauty school. I didn't go to college. So I wanted to be a hairdresser so I could spend time with my favorite thing is people. Because I think the best education you can give yourself is listening to people. People teach you so much about yourself, so much about others. They teach you patience. And sometimes I think when I listen to my clients, I feel like I've traveled the world and I haven't even gone anywhere. So my favorite thing too about my clients is, on any given day, you could have someone that, you know, is getting married, then they're going to have a baby, someone's moving. So it's always something exciting. So it kind of lures me to always make sure that my life is always going and doing something and learning as you go along your journey.
Thanks, Patty. Well, you know, when I could finally afford to travel, one of the places that I wanted to go to was the Smokies. And, as you know, it's one of the best places to go for scenic view and for hiking. However, I learned a somewhat painstaking lesson while I was there. The fact that gym shoes, no matter how comfortable your shoes are, will not resist the long rocky trails beneath your feet. So my travel tip is that you should actually have a pair of actual hiking shoes to walk comfortably on any unbeaten path in your travels. So what travel tip do you have, Carol, from your travel experience?
A recent travel tip that I would have is if you're going to take a cruise, my shipmate said, we don't need to be in a balcony cabin. You're not in your cabin that much. Me being claustrophobic and being in a darkened hole, when you go in there and there's no lights on, it is black. You don't see out at all. My travel tip is if you want to really enjoy the sunrises and the sunsets on the ship, right from your room, you can be in your nightie, and doing that, you don't have to be dressed to get up on deck to watch that. My travel tip is spend the extra money, treat yourself to the luxury of the sunrises and the sunsets and watching all the scenery right from your balcony, right from your room, in a very leisure. You're not up crowding around the edges of the deck trying to see around everyone else to see the glacier or whatever you're looking for. So that would be my travel tip. And yes, I did enough time there, okay.
Thank you, Carol. Well, you know, strangely enough, sometimes a bad experience during vacation can be the most memorable one. And from one of my most memorable travel experience was going north along Michigan with a friend, and we decided to go through a park to see some of the scenic view. And unfortunately, it rained that day, and that park had a lot of unpaved roads. So trying to get out of that park was almost impossible because a lot of the roads became mud and pools of water, and soon we got lost. We didn't know how to get out of the park. It was getting dark, and we were just really, you know, getting kind of a little concerned about how we were going to get out. And suddenly, out of the dark of nowhere, a car shot out of this, you know, out of the dark, past us, or I should say, sped past us, and just disappeared. And for a while there, we were startled, and then we thought, oh, let's follow that trail. And we did, and eventually, we finally got out of that park. But luckily, you know, if it had not been for that car, I think we may have been spending the night there and waiting for rangers to find us. So that ended up being one of our most memorable experience. Not the best, but memorable. So what would you call one of your most memorable vacation experience, Rick?
Thank you, Gene. Most memorable vacation experience. From a guy who's had a chance to travel a lot of places on somebody else's dime, I have to flip it over and think about, what about when I paid? What was the most wonderful place that I went to visit when I paid the bill? And that would have to be the Big Island of Hawaii. My wife and I took a trip to the Big Island. I had been to Hawaii before, but she had never been. And I had never been on the Big Island. We went because it was something new for me and something she had never experienced. And the thing that we thought was so wonderful about the Big Island of Hawaii was that you can experience 7 of the world's climates in one location. So literally you can be baking on the beach, and 20 minutes later, you can be up in the grasslands watching grazing cows with a misty fog and rain over top of you, turning a corner to lush rainforest, mountains, volcanoes, a lot of it right there in a single location. So if you're seeking something really memorable, green sand, black sand beaches, volcanoes, pretty much every weather you could ever experience, my suggestion would be take a trip to the Big Island of Hawaii.
Thank you, Rick. Well, I certainly hope that everyone will have something or somewhere fun to go this summer. And I know I'm looking forward to my vacation. I don't know what I'll be doing, but as I mentioned before, summer is always a time of looking forward to just going out and just relaxing and just getting out of reality and just vegetating for a while. So I hope you all have a memorable experience and a wonderful summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. She mentioned my vacation spot this year. We're going to Gatlinburg in a couple of weeks for a family vacation. And I will make sure I bring a good pair of hiking shoes, because that's not something I typically pack. So that's a good reminder. Thank you, Jean. We now transition from the impromptu speaking to the prepared speaking portion of our meeting. And we've got an exciting agenda today because we have an opportunity to experience that first step that Toastmasters take as they come to grow in this environment, and that is to give their icebreaker speech. The one in which they come up and they tell us about themselves. They introduce themselves to us and to every one of you out there. Probably the easiest, hardest speech you'll ever have to give. Because the content, you know, it's your story. You just have to get over the fear of coming up here and telling it. But in an environment like this, we're here to help you along through that journey. We're fortunate today to have Jess Bailey, who is sharing her icebreaker speech, Anything I Want. Jess Bailey, Anything I Want.
Thank you. Thus far in my life, I have lived by the motto, you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. My parents ingrained this into me, and it has proven true in so many different aspects of my life. But coming to Toastmasters, I hope that it continues to prove true, and I know that no matter what effort I put into this is what I will receive back. I started riding when I was 7 years old, horses, and my neighbor actually had a horse, and it was intended for her daughters, and her daughters didn't take care of the horse. So my mom and I found ourselves taking care of the horse more than they did. This led to us buying our own horse, and then competing on a national level, and eventually giving up our suburbia home and moving out to the country on a horse farm. One night, back in January, many years ago, my mom and I sat down at the kitchen table and decided to write our New Year's resolutions. Of course, it starts with lose weight or be healthier. But then it turned into, I wrote on my paper, win AQHA World Show. And she read it and looked, okay. So we set out, we campaigned, we competed nationally. We traveled from Florida, Texas, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, all across the East Coast, everywhere you can imagine, having a great time, really building our relationship. And everything seemed just right on track, having a great time. One day, early June, my horse Swirl got very sick. She blew her jugular vein in 3 different places and nearly died, having multiple surgeries. It was a very devastating thing for me, being just a teenager. After the help of, like I said, multiple veterinarians, she was able to recover and compete again. And on August 9th, 2003, in Fort Worth, Texas, Swirl and I won the AQHA World Show. This is a moment in my life that I will never, ever forget. A funny thing about me, though, is I love proving people wrong. My dad told me, if you get a scholarship to college, I will buy you a car. Obviously, my dad was a really intelligent man because he understood that a car is going to cost much less than college tuition. I was not on track to get an academic scholarship, not even close. I traveled way too much for that. But luckily, after winning the World Show, it opened up doors for an athletic scholarship. The equestrian program is an NCAA recognized sport for Division I schools. University of Georgia at this point was the 2-time reigning national champion. I signed with them, went car shopping, and drove off in my brand new Ford Escape to college. University of Georgia was a great school, very established program, but after just 2 years, I left there and went to a smaller school, Texas Christian University, where I had the opportunity to help build a program. I helped recruit different members of the team who are now lifelong best friends, and even helped recruit a coach. I was the very first person on their team. It was a very surreal experience, and another moment in my life that I will never forget is in 2008, my senior year of college, standing watching my team as we beat University of Georgia to win the national championship. As you guys can imagine, though, graduating in 2008 was not ideal. The political system is in the toilet. The economy is awful. I felt a huge lack of self-worth when you leave an institution where I just didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and I didn't know what direction to take. So I decided, I'm just going to start my own business. Why not? So I set out to mobilize a machine that most people that we show horses with have at their homes that exercises horses. I mobilized it, took it to horse shows, and sold time slots on it. After running this for about 2 years, I was able to buy my first house at 26. A huge accomplishment for me, something I'm very proud of. But when I was writing this speech, one thing I realized is I had a mix of emotions. One, feeling pride for past accomplishments, but 2, being terrified of tooting my own horn up in front of you who I don't really know. But then what I really truly realized was that I came to Toastmasters to regain confidence and capture my uniqueness in the world. And I hope that I can do that and share my motto of that I can do anything I want if I put my mind to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jess. Awesome. Great. Absolutely fabulous icebreaker speech. We'll be back in a minute after a word from Toastmasters International.
All the education in the world won't help you get ahead in life if you can't express your ideas effectively. Every day, competition for advancement gets tougher and tougher. You need an edge. A Toastmasters Club can give you that edge. A low-cost learning experience for men and women. Toastmasters gives you the confidence to express your ideas to anyone. Get the Toastmasters edge.
Welcome back. We're now ready for our second prepared speech today. And it's another icebreaker where we have an opportunity to learn more about one of our newest members in TV Toastmasters, BJ Harris. And the title of her speech, BJ Harris.
do you remember what you were doing on September 11th, 2001? I definitely remember that morning and the weeks surrounding what is now known as 9/11. Toastmasters and viewing audience, I'm BJ Harris, and I specifically remember because it was my second day as a project manager on a new project, and it tells you a little bit about who I am today. You see, in 2001, I was offered a project that would require me to fly to Omaha, Nebraska on Sunday evening and fly back to Cincinnati, Ohio on Friday afternoon for 2 years. So I'll have to tell you that the project was an ideal fit for my skill set, and that is key for a successful project. And the money was great, and that's also very important. So after discussing it with my family, we thought we could make it work at this time in our lives. Now, Bruce and I had been together over 25 years, and we had one son. We had a very close family. So I thought this is an opportunity for me to leave and avoid the empty nest syndrome when our only son leaves home. So I made the arrangements to go to Omaha, Nebraska, and I was hired on a 15-minute phone interview. So I agreed to start work on Monday, September 8th, 2001 in Omaha. And when I left, I remember saying, if I don't like my boss, I'll be right back, because a mutual respect between me and my boss is a requirement for success on my projects. Well, my boss was out of town the very first week. So on my second day, I decided to attend an all-day conference call with my technical team and a system vendor. And we poured through row by row of a complex spreadsheet when suddenly the woman on the phone spoke up and said, "Excuse me, but I have the TV on and it looks like an airplane just flew into the World Trade Center." Well, after a few brief comments, we just kept on working. Well, shortly she interrupted again and she said, I can't help, I'm getting interrupted, but it looks like a plane just flew into the Pentagon." Well, again, we had trouble believing this was even real, so we kept on working in a conference room until lunch. Well, the cafeteria was abuzz, so we soon learned more about the events of the morning and that it was true, and we realized how serious the situation was and the bravery of the fire department and the impact of having no cell reception and traffic jams all over New York City and the loss of lives and the suffering of loved ones. Now, that was Tuesday, and Thursday, September 13th, is my birthday. So I was halfway across the country that is teeming with talk of terrorist attacks and fear, and everyone wanting to be with family. And I was alone, and all air traffic was canceled. Well, I was also very close to my mom, and we talked by phone on that birthday night, and she told me that she was very glad that my project was in Omaha instead of on the East Coast because she thought I would be safer in the middle of the country. And we later laughed when we learned that the Air Force Base in Omaha, Nebraska is the command center, 5 floors underground, where the president and generals met to discuss the 9/11 attacks. Well, as it turned out, I was physically safe. I was alone and missed my family, but I learned that I could take care of myself. I spent a lot of time in Omaha, and when air traffic resumed, I traveled almost every week except short holiday weeks like 4th of July, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. But after 2 years, I was ready to come home. I now work from my home office with remote workers as my team members, and I've created a workshop entitled How to Lead a Virtual Team. Our son Jacob and his family now live about 3 hours away as they bought their first home 30 minutes from our retirement home in Mammoth Cave, Kentucky. Now we have 3 grandsons and a granddaughter, all under the age of 5, and that is what is most important to me. I enjoy working with people from all across the country, and on one project even all over the world, but in a virtual sense. And what I learned is it is important to travel and get away, but what is most as important is to be able to come home to family. So I'm looking forward to knowing more about you, and I'm looking forward to delivering more information about me. And I'll leave you with one final thought. It's all about family, but sometimes you need to have some alone time to learn more about yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, BJ. We'll take a minute so that our evaluator can prepare their evaluation.
What future do you envision for yourself? What dreams do you have? If you want your dreams to come true, you must have confidence in yourself and your abilities. A Toastmasters Club can help you build that confidence. A low-cost learning experience for men and women. Toastmasters shows you how to express yourself clearly and effectively. Make your dreams a reality. Join.
Welcome back. We're ready for our third prepared speech at TV Toastmasters today, and we are blessed to hear from a man who's on a mission. Ram Karpur is one of our newest members at TV Toastmaster, and he takes the opportunity to speak every single time it's presented. He understands that growth occurs when you take action, and he's ready for explosive growth because he is up here sharing his life with us every opportunity he gets. And we're picking on this travel theme because he is going to tell us about his dream motorcycle journey. My dream motorcycle journey, Project 4, how you say it, Ram Karpur.
Thank you, Ray. Have you ever been on a road trip? I have been, and it was a dream journey. And it was last summer. When I was in India, I used to ride a 150cc motorcycle. And the roads in India are not that great. We have a lot of potholes. It's so frustrating. When I came in the United States in 2009, I saw those big cc motorcycles like 800cc, 1200cc and 1800cc. I was just dreaming, how would it feel to ride those motorcycles? All those cruisers. I love the cruisers. So, and I never got an opportunity to buy the bikes for 3 years because my job was always keeping me traveling from back and forth from India and US. Until finally I got a good job in 2012. And I said, this is the time I'm going to buy my motorcycle. But I have a wife and a kid. How do I go? And soon the opportunity presented itself. My wife wanted to go to India for 2.5 months. And that was the time. I said, I'm never going to miss this time again. I'm never going to get this opportunity. So I made my mind and I asked around my friends about my plan, and everybody thought I was crazy to go alone. And my plan was I wanted to go from Cincinnati to Yellowstone and back. And I said, I have never done that kind of a road trip ever. What if the motorcycle breaks down? What if something happens? What if, so many what ifs. But then I said, nature is a mother. I will just give myself to nature and she will take care of me. So it was kind of a spiritual journey for me. And I said, I will take the leap. I will leave the rest on the mother nature. Let's see what happens. And I had so much faith and so much confidence that nothing will go wrong, and if anything goes wrong, I'll get the help that I need. So, in last week of July, I started my journey. And believe it or not, of course I had a helmet, but when I used to get bored with the helmet, I would wear my cap. So that first day was very depressing because it was raining. And I said, okay, it's a challenge. I'm going to overcome it. I still went. And I went up to St. Louis, no problems. And I had decided that I will not stay a single night in a hotel. I will always camp. So I took my tent and my sleeping bag and all the gear, I put it on my motorcycle. So every day I decided that I will go 300 miles. And before the night, I would find a campground and I will take rest and I will put up my tent. That was the plan. So very interesting events occurred in between. That is what I would like to share today. And that is, when I was crossing Kansas, you know how long the Kansas highway is? It goes straight across. And it's so beautiful and mesmerizing. You just like that, keep going, and you never know when the fuel goes to empty. And that is exactly what happened with me. Oh my. And there is no one around me to help me. And I was hoping my cell phone has network to ask for some help. Because, and lo and behold, I had range. I could call my roadside support. And luckily, they picked up the phone and I was able to talk with them. So I was like on the side of the road. And vehicles were going at 85, 90 because the road speed limit is at 75. So people were going at like 85. And I was not thinking that anybody would stop even to help me at that speed. But in 5 minutes, I was just looking the other side and I was hoping if I could find some house and somebody could, give me some help. Within 5 minutes, I heard someone calling from behind, "Hey, I got gas for you." I was so surprised. And I just went up to that person and asked him, "How do you know I don't have gas?" I said, "I'm also a motorcyclist. I know this happens all the time." He said, "Awesome." And he literally came out with a gas tank, can of gas full of 5 gallons. And he filled my tank. And I wanted to pay him, and he was not ready to take the money. He said, "You are in difficulty, I need to help you." I said, "No, you have to take the money." And then I said to myself, I'm so blessed. I just had to spend 10 minutes on the highway, and I was given the required help by Mother Nature. Next thing happened, somewhere, again 100 miles down the line, it was dark, and I was thinking I should take some kind of break, to put up my camp. And I saw 2 beautiful ladies on the horseback. So I thought, let me have some fun with them. So I asked them, "Would you like to exchange the rides? Let me give me your horse and you ride my bike." And they said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Very sporting. And then we started talking, and then we became very instant friends. And she invited me to her house to stay over the night. I said, why would you go and camp when you can come to my house and stay? I said, "Okay, great, that's great." And then I offered to cook Indian food in her kitchen. And they loved it. The whole family loved it. And I enjoyed it cooking for them. The next morning, she took me on a horseback ride. 4 hours. And that is one lesson I learned. If you are on a motorcycle journey, never go on a horseback ride. Because the ass gets sore. And I was never able to ride. I was thinking to get out of her house the next evening or next night, but it was so sore. I said, I have to stay one more day. I can't ride. I can't even imagine sitting on a motorcycle. So she said, "Yeah, you can stay as long as you want." I said, "I will cook again." So I cooked the dinner and the lunch again, and then we had great time. They had like 5 horses, 3 dogs, 12 cats, and all the animals, and 1 chicken in their house. So I met some really amazing people on my journey, and I really want to challenge you to take this kind of solo journey on your own, and you will go through different experiences that will open your heart and mind, and you will meet the real heart of America. That's what my boss said. "Shriram, you met the real people of America. All the people that they show on the news channels and all, that is just, a part of America. But when you go and meet people, you get the gentleness and the kindness and the love from them. That is real America. I'm glad you had it." So that was my dream journey, and I hope all of you also do that sometime in your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Ram. We'll take a minute so our evaluator can prepare their evaluation.
All the education in the world won't help you get ahead in life if you can't express your ideas effectively. Every day, competition for advancement gets tougher and tougher. You need an edge. A Toastmasters club can give you that edge. A low-cost learning experience for men and women. Toastmasters gives you the confidence to express your ideas to anyone. Get the Toastmasters edge.
Welcome back as we transition the TV Toastmasters meeting from the prepared speaking portion to our evaluation portion of the meeting. Here's where growth accelerates within our meeting. Every prepared speech is evaluated by a member of our club, helping our speaker reinforce what they did well and giving them a few suggestions on how to improve the next time. I will serve as the club's general evaluator this meeting and also as the first evaluator, evaluating Jess Bailey's speech, Anything I Want. The easiest, hardest speech you'll ever have to give. Anything I want. Jess, it's clear that you're going to do well here because this is something that you took to like an expert. You came up here very poised and confident, very prepared to take us over with the opening statement that you made regarding anything you want if you can put your mind to it. Getting us to explore that thinking process about what is it that I've ever wanted and how can I go about getting it. Your speech was supposed to have an beginning, body, and ending to introduce yourself to us and to use limited use of notes. You did excellent at all three. In terms of your strengths, comfortable, confident, great eye contact, almost no verbal crutches. I don't know that I counted a single ah or maybe a double clutch once or twice, but in terms of overall, it was outstanding compared to what many people have to do or experience when they get up here. It appears as if you're a natural or you've been doing this somewhere else for a very long time. In addition, the stories that you told were very engaging and pulled us in to experience them with you. Very advanced kind of techniques that you were using as you were sharing your story. As I reviewed what could be done differently to improve the impact that the story made, or the speech made, my initial reaction was nothing. I wouldn't change a single thing related to your first speech. And then I thought, don't cop out like that. You got to give her something. This is her first speech, so I'm going to give you something that's a little more advanced. And that is the use of pauses during your speech. Specifically, when you transitioned from telling us one story to the next story, specifically the one I caught was telling us about the horse story and then going into the college story. I would have benefited from a little pause to break those up and to allow me to reset my mind and kind of mentally say, this one's over. She's transitioning to something new now. Almost treating it as if it's a separate speech. Using pauses within your speech to help us reset, to have a minute to think about the lesson that you just shared with us, and then to catch up and to move on with you. Overall, it was one of the best icebreakers that I have had the opportunity to experience because you look natural up here. Absolutely natural. Congratulations. I look forward to seeing more speeches from you. Our second evaluation today is of B.J. Harris's icebreaker speech, B.J. Harris, And that will be done by Patty Raggett.
BJ, I thought you did a great job. I thought you came up here very confident and delivered a story that was multifaceted. And my favorite thing was that you wanted to embark on a journey to go find yourself, basically, before your child moved out. And then how you handled the 9/11 story of feeling alone, and I loved it that you found comfort in just the voice of your mother, because that's powerful. And how the basis of the story was to learn about yourself, and when you came back after your job of being there for 2 years, was you probably in the midst of finding yourself found that the most important thing in life is family. So that's what I liked about it. I guess if I would improve a suggestion, would maybe, they always tell me to put your notes down and slide them so we don't see them. But I liked how you had emotion and kind of drew us in to connect.
Thank you, Patty. Our third evaluation of Ram Karpur's speech, My Dream Motorcycle Journey, will be done by Steve Aaronholtz. Steve?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, our guests looking in from home, and Ram. Good speech. I enjoyed your speech. The purpose of this speech was to use words and arrangements of words that effectively communicate a message to the audience. Ram's goal was to use clear, accurate, descriptive, and short words, and choose verbs that convey action. I think you did a really good job with conveying action, because one of the things you did in the story was you were describing to us this trip that you went on. I thought that when you talked about the vehicles speeding by on the expressway, and when you used some of your gestures along with your speech, like when Ram talked about how long the roads were in Kansas, and you stretched it across, and you really got the idea that, oh yeah, these just go on forever. Your visual aids I really liked. It asked me, what did you like about the speech? And I thought the story about when you ran out of fuel for your motorcycle was good. I really liked your cap and glasses. I think if you would have brought your helmet in, too, that would have even added to it. One of the things that it asked about was pronunciations and clear language. I think your language was simple in that, if I'm correct, English isn't your first language, correct? One of the things that I think you will find, and we had a former TV Toastmasters member that shared with us one of the things he got out of Toastmasters, was that it gave him excellent opportunities to work on his English as well, presenting things in front of an audience. Because for the most part, I could understand all your words really well, except there was one that caught me by surprise, and I had to think about it for a minute. It was hotel, because you had hodl or hotel or something like that. And I thought, oh, that's what it is. One of the other things that I thought was really clever, I don't know if it was something you had intended to do as a part of your speech, but when you were talking about something with your trip was a mother that would take care of you, and I thought, Mother Nature, okay, because some people sometimes use that term when they've had a really trying situation or something's been really problematic and they say, oh, it was a real mother. I thought, okay. So my guidance to you as far as what could you have done better to make your speech more effectively is just to be careful of some of your pronunciation, subject-verb agreement. Overall, I really enjoyed your speech. I liked your gestures, vocal variety. One of the other things we have in TV Toastmasters that we do have to remind people of is not to thump on the lectern when you're speaking, because from a technical perspective, it resonates through our microphone up on the lectern here. So it's a very practical reason that we point that out to people. I look forward to hearing your next speech. Mr. General Evaluator?
Thank you, Steve. Been interesting for words. The one meeting where we don't have a grammarian. We've had some interesting words today. We time everything at Toastmasters. And the reason for timing everything is what we find as people join and get comfortable up here at the lectern, it's not a problem getting them up here. The problem is yanking them off. And that's what the timer is for, to help us speak within the time allotted. Today's timer is Carol Cormelink, who will share how we've done on staying within our time limit.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and our guest viewing from home. We did well with our timing today. We kept within the time. We're really right on time here with what we're doing. The table topics, Patty, you took 1 minute to answer what you did after graduating. I took 1 minute and 9 seconds, my tip. And Rick, for your memorable vacation, 1 minute and 33 seconds. We all were within time there. The 4 to 6 minute speech, Jess, you came in at 4 minutes and 56 seconds. Very good. And you came in at 4 minutes and 56 seconds also.
Really?
Wow. I'm going, am I seeing this right? Very good. And the only one who got the red light that went over was Rom with your motorcycle, and you were only 16 seconds over. You were 7 minutes and 46 seconds. Now, if you had made that a humorous speech in a contest, you would have been eliminated. You go 1 second over the 7 minutes and 30 seconds, so you might, if you're thinking about doing a humorous speech in our contest in the fall, you might be paying attention to your time and start wrapping up when you see the yellow light so you don't go over. But I enjoyed your motorcycle trip. Learned a little more than just viewing it on the TV, on what you sent me. As a general evaluator, we got started right on time, and the evaluation that Rick, that you did was 3 minutes and 26 seconds. You were right within your time. Patty, for BJ, you were 1 minute and 40 seconds. You were a little shy of the 2 minutes, but you did fine. Steve, your evaluation, you were right on the time, 3 minutes and 25 seconds. And that's my timer report for today. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Carol. As a general evaluator, it's also my role to evaluate the meeting overall. And in most cases, those things that we talk about are minuscule little things that really, when it comes down to it, it's about the content and the experience. And I think today we had an awesome meeting. We had 3 great table topics that really engaged people and got them ready for summer, thinking about travel. We had 3 great speeches with some travel themes spread throughout them, and none of this was planned. It all just happens. The evaluations were right on target, focusing on building people up and giving them a suggestion or two that they can use to improve themselves the next time they're up here. If you're sitting out there wondering, how can I be part of this? You can come visit us at the Anderson Center, 7850 5 Mile Road. We meet the first Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. and the third Saturday of the month at 9 a.m. You can learn more about us at www.tvtoastmasters.com. I'll now turn the meeting back over to our presiding officer, Steve Ehrenholz.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Let's give our Toastmaster for this evening a good round of applause, too. Rick covered most everything I needed to cover in our closing comments. I would encourage those of you at home that maybe have never checked out a Toastmasters Club, or you wonder what it might be like to actually be here in person. Come and check us out. Our next meeting is June 21st here at the Anderson Community Television Studio, and the address is 7855 Mile Road. We will be having our club officer installation at our next meeting, and so that'll be a little additional activity that we'll have going on. But we certainly would encourage anyone to come and just check us out. You don't have to join the first time, although we would love it if you would. It's a great group of people. This is a safe setting to try a variety of things as far as your speaking skills go. And until our next meeting, I hope you have a good week. And with that, we will adjourn the Thursday, June 5th, 2014 TV Toastmasters meeting.